See myself, I don't know.
Hi, everyone. This is VA to VA Mastermind Live. And this is Tammy. I'm sorry I'm not live today, but we have Nanette Telemack. Uh-oh. Excuse me a minute. Apparently, I have my. Okay, sorry guys. I had YouTube open, and we have Lisa Kolb's trying to jump on our usual group, and then we have a special guest today. Hi, Lisa. So glad to have you with us today. And so today we're going to start with, we're going to actually talk about, you know, how everybody talks about the word of the year at the, beginning of the year, everybody has a word and that they're going to focus on for the year. And so we're going to kind of talk about our words first, and then we're very excited because we're going to transition into Pinterest, which is hardly ever talked about anymore, and definitely not talked about within our industry. Rarely. I don't think I ever see that. And so we're going to get some expertise from Lisa Galletti, who is just very much focused on that niche. And so we're excited to be able to do that today, too. So, Nanette, introduce yourself, please.
I tend to always mute myself. So, hi, I'm Nanette Telemack with In Essence Virtual Assistants out of Newbury, New Hampshire, and I'm a generalist virtual assistant. So I offer virtual professional services to small businesses, companies, and anyone who needs needs help with running their business, whether it's social media, web design, or just administrative help. So that's me.
Great. Hi, and Lisa's on. Hi, Lisa Kolb. How are you? Well, you jumped right in, right on time. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Lisa. My name is Lisa Kolb. I am the owner and manager of Augusta Virtual Assistants. We are based out of Augusta, Georgia, and my team members kind of span throughout the Southeast. We offer real estate support, administrative support, general business support, bookkeeping, financial support, things like that. And we're glad that you joined us.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. I'm so glad you're able to get on. And then Lisa Galletti, I'm going to have you introduce yourself too, please, and tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lisa Galletti, and I am from Northern California, and I'm a solo business. I am lisagaletti.com, and I am a digital marketing specialist. I tend to work mostly with online entrepreneurs. And initially, my focus was on social media, but I've kind of broadened that to some email marketing and e-commerce because all those pieces tend to tie in together. So once we've started to establish them with their social media, we need to have a place to go. So we start talking about email marketing, and maybe they have a product or service to sell. So it seems to all tie in together. So that's what I'm all about. And today I'm going to talk to you about Pinterest because nobody seems to be interested in it. There's a huge market out there for it.
Awesome. That's great. I know we're very excited about it and about you bringing that to us. And you're so right about how it all kind of ties together. You start with one thing and then clients really realize shortly how quick, how much they really need the help with so many other facets of their business. So I think that's awesome. And I'm so excited for you to tell us more about Pinterest. Yeah. I have a Pinterest and it is a mess, I'll be honest. So I'm excited for you to talk to us about it. And I know there's so many new things with it even. So we'll get into that shortly, but we're very excited to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to go on into talking about our words of the year. And Nanette, would you mind starting us off with our word of the year? Or your word?
My word?
Yes.
I guess why did you have Lisa do it?
Sorry, didn't mean to catch you off guard. All right, Lisa, you go for it.
Well, this was kind of my idea for us to begin talking about this morning. I'm, like many of y'all, I'm in a lot of different types of Facebook and other social media groups. And a lot of the coaches and consultants and leaders in, leadership training and things like that, they push having a certain word or maybe even a short phrase for you to concentrate on for the year. Goes along with maybe creating a vision board for the year, what you want to see personally and in your business. And I have chosen one for the last few years. 2018's word for me was all in. And that, spanned every aspect, every facet of my life, whether it be spiritually or with health or with family and in my business. And the year before, I chose the word fierce. So this year, my word is, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, growth. My word for this year is growth. And I keep coming across memes, motivational quotes, and subject matters to do with growth. And I'm just focused on that this year and many of the same aspects of my life.
That's awesome. I know. That's great. I'm so glad to hear it. And just to go off of that, my word this year is extraordinary. I am very much looking forward to having an extraordinary year. Many of you know that I launched another business as if I didn't have enough to do, but it was actually where I felt like God was leading me, and for a long time now. And being a part of the mentor group in BA Classroom, which is for you now, also gave me the confidence to be able to launch my coaching, teaching, speaking business. So Fearless Boss Babes has started this year. And I just felt like extraordinary, really, because it's going to be extraordinary. It's going to be wonderful. And with, with all that I do, I feel like that'll be, it just seems like a big word that fits the year. And, but I did like fierce too, because I have a course on becoming spiritually fierce, Lisa. So I like that word a lot. But I just felt like this year is going to be, or at least, that is what my goal is. And what I'm geared toward this year is having an extraordinary year, going above and beyond to help my clients as well as my business, and, staying focused and keeping that word in front of me this year. So, Nanette, are you okay if we swing by you with work? Okay, go ahead.
So after Lisa's great perspective and everything, I think for me this year, my word's persevere, because I'm now full-time, and I'm trying to build my clientele up to really, and I'm really in putting a lot of effort in growing my business today. So persevere sounds right for me right now, because that I need to keep moving no matter how many, ups and downs of disappointments and things that could arise that could put or all those little obstacles that get in the way. So it will be persevere.
You're so right. That is so true. Perseverance, and especially, all throughout our careers with this industry, but definitely, you're going full time this past year, and it can be a little scary, but yes, I think persevering is an amazing word. I think that's great. So I know you're going to do great things in that, and I know you're getting there. It just takes time. And, we all, like you said, have those ups and downs, and in our, businesses. And so I look forward to hearing, even more great and amazing things about new clients and everything. So you've gotten a lot of new clients, though, so I'm excited for you. So, Lisa Galati, do you have a word this year?
Let me unmute myself. Actually, I do. I started my VA journey a couple of years ago, and actually didn't have any idea about picking a word until last year. And my word for 2018 was clarity. And I really put a lot of thought into that one because I was at a point where I really needed something to guide me. I needed clarity in my business and my life and for everything. So it really focused on that for 2018. And I feel like I've gotten much clearer on who I want to work with, what I do, both personally and professionally. So my word for the year for 2019 is prosper or prosperity, prosperous. It's all kind of tied together. Not so much in the sense of monetary, although that would be nice. One of my goals is to double my income this year. That would be nice. However, prosper also means to flourish, and that really is something that struck me because I just turned 50 in 2018, and I really want to flourish overall with my health, mentally, physically, spiritually, and professionally in my business. So I felt like that's a really strong word for me for 2019. So prosper, prosperous, prosperity, all of that. So that's where I'm at.
I love it. I love it. And so true, and because I know you personally and, have just seen firsthand your journey. It's been amazing. You guys are going to hear more about her story and Fearless Boss Babes because, I'm doing the videos every month, your story. And so Lisa's going to be on that too. So I don't want to give too much away, but she's an amazing woman. She's come such a far way since the beginning. And I'm just amazed by her. She's done, and she really has a great handle on gaining clients even, because she was very savvy and very smart in the beginning of what she did in her approach. And it was just really cool. And she's still doing that. So I'm just so grateful you can join us today and teach us some of your tactics about Pinterest and all of that. I think your word is amazing. And I think that's great. And I love that you also include that flourish. And, anybody who knows you knows that you're all about that anyway. and that, you really do. And you encompass all of that. So I'm excited for you this year and to see even more growth in your business. So I'm very excited for you, Lisa.
Thank you.
So I think that when we talk about our words and, everything, I think it's real easy to just have a word pop in our mind and that kind of thing. But also, we have to consider, like everybody has, what does that word really mean and what is it going to encompass? I know I've been doing actually a word art piece of, extraordinary and the big word and then putting little words with it. And just working on that this month because of what do I want that to mean for me and my businesses? How is that going to help me? Almost like a vision board, like Lisa, you're talking about too. And, I'm still working on it. So I'm going to try and get that out this by the end of the month when I finish it. But, it does. We have to really kind of put that thought in there. And I think we've all done that and thinking about what is that word? Just about a word that pops in our head, but it's about a word that's going to actually mean something this year for us and what is our focus and where are we going for the year. So I think it's great to talk about those things and why we do that. It's not just to do it, but it's actually to begin the year with a focus in mind. And so I think that's a great thing. And I'm glad we talked about it this morning. So now we're going to transition though into our amazing guests. And talk to Lisa Galati about Pinterest. And we have a lot of questions for her. And I just wanted to ask you, Lisa, first getting started, I just wanted to ask you, how on earth did you begin your journey to Pinterest and to the passion you have with it? Because you really do, you really love it, and you really can help clients with it. And so I think it's, amazing, and just kind of, we all land in different niche for a reason, whether we enjoy it, whether clients need it and that kind of thing, and then it's a good fit for us, whatever it is. But not many people land in Pinterest in our industry, so I'd love to hear how that came about.
Well, this is going to be interesting, and I think you guys will all get a little chuckle about it. So I started my VA journey, like I said, a couple years ago. I never intended to have a business for myself. I was a payroll specialist for a college for 20 years, and I was gonna live, breathe, and die there in Cube land. And what I did for a living was very specific. I had no idea that this whole other world existed outside of government accounting because that took up my whole life. However, a couple years ago, I was diagnosed with a degenerative visual disorder, and my employer was no longer able to accommodate me. So I ended up leaving my job and researching online. I've been online probably since the internet started. I just have. Horses are my passion, and I live in a very rural area. So once we got a computer and got on the internet, I was just on there. And I have met people all over the country and all over the world through groups online. Before we had social media, this is how old I am. There were groups that you would join online, and you could communicate within those groups with people that had similar interests to you. So for me, that was horses. And then eventually social media came into play, and I got onto Facebook, and I've probably been on Facebook for, 10 years, and just for personal use, and everything. But when I started on this virtual assistant journey, I got onto Facebook. I got into groups. I was going to do payroll from home, so I hopped into some accounting groups on Facebook. And what I discovered very quickly was that they didn't need help with payroll. They needed help with all of their administrative work, all of these online accounting professionals. And so I built my VA business in the beginning through one accounting group online. I got my first 3 clients that way. And I've just kind of built upon it. By working with these other online professionals, it's expanded my view of the world, so to speak. And my business grew, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled with that particular niche. What I had done is I had created a niche for myself that there was a need for it. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to do. So I just want to let other VAs know that this is a journey, and that you will evolve over time, and that you will find your passion and your niche. Eventually it will come to you. It's taken me a couple years to get to that point. But what I found was that I've always been involved with social media. I really enjoy it. I've always been online with people. So I transitioned. I started to focus more on social media, and my 3 initial clients that I first signed have stayed with me. They've moved on from the administrative side, and now they're with me on the social media side. So in the last year, as I've looked at the various platforms and worked with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, what I've found for myself was that I really started to get overwhelmed. There's so many platforms, trying to keep up with everything. Being a social media manager was very broad for me, and I was used to being very specific. So I had to kind of say, whoa, this is just overwhelming for myself. To try to keep up, everything is changing day to day. So to try to keep up with everything became very difficult. So I thought, well, I want to kind of niche down a little bit. So I'm going to focus on Facebook. except Facebook owns Instagram. And so what begins to happen is a client comes to you and says, I'd like to do Facebook, but I also want you to do my Instagram, so okay, there again, I'm starting to build all these other platforms. And can you do my LinkedIn? Sure, okay, I really started to, it just got really noisy. Everything got really noisy and crowded. So I happened to be on a training page or something. I don't even remember what I was on. And Pinterest kept coming up. And I thought, it's just for people that, it's just for moms that stay at home and put stuff on a bulletin board. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I'd never been on Pinterest, really, honestly. When it would come up in my Google search, I would bypass it. I would just be like, I don't want to look at Pinterest stuff. It has nothing to do with me. So I thought, let's go explore this. Let's just go check it out. What's this all about? So I hopped in there and I was immediately overwhelmed. I thought, where do I even go? Where do I start? So being the researcher that I am, I started out with a course. I read more about it, and then I got into a course on it. And then it just opened up this whole new world. I started looking at it from a business person's point of view and saying, wow, this is really powerful. This goes beyond regular social media. And it really isn't social media. It's a visual search engine is what it is. So think of it as kind of your virtual bulletin board. And I mean, come on, how many, I don't know about you guys, but for myself growing up, I had stacks of magazines and I would cut pictures out and articles out and I would pin them up, to remind me, or I'd see like a quote or something that inspired me. And I thought, this is really interesting. So I ended up investing in several courses and educating myself on it and trying to seek out the influencers and leaders in Pinterest to go to them to see, how they were using it. And it's really powerful. It's really great. I'm really surprised that more people don't use it. More businesses don't use it. And when people say what types of businesses can use it and can't use it, the first thing that I tell people is, let's do a little research on it. Let's go in there and see if your content is already being pinned. And you would be surprised at how many people's content, they don't even have a profile on Pinterest, but pinners have reached out to their blogs or their videos or whatever, and they're pinning their content. They're saving their content. They're sharing it on Pinterest, and these businesses don't even know it. So it's like, wow, wait a minute. Here's a whole other channel, to play around with and see what we can do. And I look at social media and marketing as it's all a big test. I mean, you really do have to get out there and test it. There is no method that is 100% foolproof. The algorithms continuously change. That's probably the most frustrating thing. But in general, they're all free marketing platforms. So why not take advantage of them? You don't have to pay until you start to do the paid advertising. So, use them to your advantage. But they do sort of tie in together. So that's just kind of how I got started in with Pinterest. Now, I still use Facebook. I'm on Instagram a little bit, although Instagram goes a little too fast for me. So I don't really, it's not my favorite platform. But Tammy, I know that you are just going gangbusters on Instagram.
Not this week, but yes, I do enjoy it. That's for certain. Well, I've just been able to quickly connect and build and things like that. But like you, I think it's amazing too that the type of business savvy you have, because you really do just get in there and just even like from the accounting perspective, how you got those clients and just from one group and then you continue to build. So now I will tell you, I've been on Pinterest probably since the beginning. I loved it in the beginning as a mom.
Yeah.
I did. I just would look at all the great things on it and I loved it. And I was telling my kids about it, that they would love this and everything else. But from a personal perspective, not really business. Then when the businesses when I can remember they first allowed the businesses to have a profile, I put mine up. But somewhere along the line, my personal and business merged, and I do not know how. I don't know if what happened there or if something happened with some algorithm, but now it looks like a big mess because I'm not just focused on business, but then I have decor and I have grandchildren. You know what I mean? So it's a big mess. I just probably should hire you to get on there and clean it up. But I am surprised how many followers I have. I mean, much more than any other platform, how many pins I've gotten and all of that. And I know I'm not using it to the fullest advantage because I mean, and I will say too, I've never gotten a client that said, because I always ask, well, how'd you find me? Never has anybody ever said Pinterest. So that's the other part of it. And has it enticed me to continue trying to build even for myself that platform. I know e-commerce is great with it because now they have clickable links and that whole thing, which has totally transitioned since the beginning. But, I just think, so if I'm on there, our industry's on there, Lisa.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a solopreneur, right? What type of businesses can we attract? Like who's going to see us on there? Like what type of business should we be reaching out to on there?
Well, and so this depends, you ladies that have this VA to VA mastermind, right? You have a course, and I see a lot of courses being promoted on Pinterest. So think of Pinterest this way. Think of it as part of your sales funnel in essence. Okay. And this is how I kind of like to tie it in too. I don't feel like people can just stay with one platform. I think you need at least two, right? And I think I think businesses, all of us need to be paying attention to our analytics on our website, number one. That's one of the big questions I ask my clients when we first meet. What are your analytics saying? And most of them say to me, I haven't looked at my analytics.
Yep. I get that all the time too. So I know what you mean by that. They don't even know what keywords are sometimes. So yeah.
Right. So there's an educational element there too. And numbers are so important. I mean, we have this wonderful technology that can tell us where's your traffic coming from. So where should you put the emphasis on your marketing? Make your marketing work for you, right? So I'm just going to say, like, let's think about this in kind of a broader text. Content. If you've created any type of content, what's your reason for doing that? Well, for most of us, you create content to show that you're an expert in what you do, but it's also to lead people back to your website and get them to sign up for your email list, so that if social media ever completely disappears, you have your email list. You can still speak with your people. I mean, that's kind of doom and gloom to think like that. I don't think social media is ever going to go away completely, but you can really focus and target your marketing to your email subscribers because they've signed up. I mean, I can't even tell you how many I sign up daily for different, freebies and offers and everything. And I might not see something from that person for a few months, and then they come back with some really great offer. I have to tell you, one great thing that I've learned in the last few months is that it does pay to sign up for a freebie and then maybe take advantage of a small offer that they will offer you. I'm now in a closed group on Facebook with Mari Smith, who is one of the key Facebook influencers. And she does these super powerful live presentations. I
love her. I know, she's awesome. Yeah.
Us up to date and telling us tips and everything on how to work with Facebook. And I'm getting to rub shoulders with people who are running multi-million-dollar social media campaigns. Right. So, absolutely. From a freelancer or VA point of view, you need to kind of get in there and get involved. So, but then getting back to Pinterest, you can get your engagement in with a group, and then you can funnel them over to Pinterest to get them back to your website. For me, I would say for the majority of my clients, the whole purpose is to get them back to a website, whether it's to look at their services, their products that they sell, and that can be digital or physical products. Yesterday, I was doing a little bit of, I call it reconnaissance. I was doing a little bit of reconnaissance on, I just grabbed a variety of businesses, online businesses. I also grabbed a couple of my local businesses. We have a local company who has an online store. Okay, they have a brick and mortar store, but they also are bringing their store online. They sell supplies to artists, and they're very specific. It's pigments for paints. Their pigments are being pinned on Pinterest. They're not even there. They don't even know about it. So now I'm going to reach out to them and say.
It's very smart, yeah. Hey, so basically going back to the question, I mean, because you have a wealth of information, and we could stay on here for hours. But I mean, you're really good. I mean, you just know what you're doing. But so if we're talking about businesses we can reach on Pinterest, though, then you're saying basically put our content out there, have a page, put our content out there that we're normally putting out to reach the businesses we would normally reach because they're on there.
So that's your other question. Who's your audience? You know, who's your ideal client? You know, break that down, because the key to Pinterest are your keywords, how you're building your description of your profile, your description on your boards, your description on your pins. Remember, Pinterest is a search engine. People are placing words. People are placing words in the search bar and searching for that. So your job is to get those correct keywords. So it brings up your information. It's just like Google, right? It's like if Google and Instagram had a baby.
Well, basically consider Pinterest almost like another website that's helping to build traffic, and we'll get it back to your website. But like you build your website out and keywords and everything else. So that's great. That's great info.
Absolutely.
I know that Lisa Kolb has has another question for us. So I'm going to turn it over to her for a second.
Lisa, my Pinterest account is in my business's name. But I do have, and I had read a while back where it's a good thing to also have some personal boards along with the professional boards, because people will be drawn to your account and your boards based on things that may even be on a personal board. And then they'll see the business boards and click around in there, and it draws interest. Just like I have, you know, professional books to read, or VA tips and tricks, things like that, or business owner tips and tricks. I also have a board for when I was designing a baby shower for one of my grandchildren. I have a passion for lace. So I have pinned a lot of pictures and made a board for lace clothing, things like that, that are on this business account to draw interest even from those who aren't looking for a VA. Then they, you know, may grab some interest that way. So how important are your boards?
Your boards are really important in the sense that you're categorizing your information. You know, like if you just had one giant board, it would be kind of a conglomeration, be kind of a big mess, because it would be everything on one board. But again, your board descriptions are very important, because those are your keywords that will bring your boards up. Like for instance, on my Pinterest, I have people that just follow specific boards that I have. And I would say that's a really good point with some of your personal likes and interests. I wouldn't go too far with that, because then you can kind of overwhelm your followers a little bit. If there's a way to tie in some of your personal interest into your professional, for instance, horses are a passion of mine, and I do work with several clients who are, I have a carriage hat maker. She designs hats for combined carriage drivers. So if I tie in my Pinterest marketing, and then I might have a separate board there that has to do with driving and attire and everything, because that's interesting to me, but it also kind of ties into some of my clients too. And they're
Right.
like, you know, and I think to me, I always like to remember that social media is social, right? It's to develop a know, like, and trust with your clients. So I think sometimes they want to see us as real people. I mean, you can, I guess it depends on the type of persona that you want to put out there for your business. But for myself, I want people to know that I'm approachable and that I have interests that might coincide with their interests. So I think that's a really good point. Yeah.
Well, we need
And
to
I
follow
think,
each other if we aren't already, because I have a board about horses as well.
Yes,
So, yeah, we need to follow each other. I need to look and see if we're following each other. So.
Well, and you know, that to bring up that point, I worked with a local dog trainer recently. And when we first met, she was kind of apprehensive about social media. I worked on a Facebook page for her. And, you know, the deciding factor was that we both own Labrador retrievers. I mean, that just came up in the conversation.
yeah, you just never know.
You just
Right.
never know where you might, you know, connect. It's the connection with people.
Exactly. See, I work with realtors a lot and was on Facebook last week, and a realtor I've known for several years. We've not worked together, but we have, you know, seen each other at open houses and things like that. And she and her mom have bought a horse farm and just started bringing in horses. So I reached out to her. I said, wow, the barn, I have a thing for barns. I can't explain it. I have a thing about barns. I love barns.
Yeah.
So I said, your barn is beautiful in the pictures, you know, and she invited me. She said, come on out. So last Saturday I went out, met the horses. We rode a little bit and saw that amazing barn that the gentleman that sold the property had built. But he's military and he moved on to Colorado. And honestly, this barn looks like a cabin on a mountain in Colorado. I mean, just so much detail in it. But because I had that connection with her as a realtor, then we were able to connect on that level as well, on a personal level with horses. And she even let me ride with her. So yeah, I get that.
Totally.
It goes both ways, doesn't it, in marketing? It really does. It goes both ways. And I think, too, back to what you guys are talking about, you know, it used to be you kept your personal and your business separate, right? I mean, everybody used to do that. And many didn't want to talk about their personal lives, only business, business, business. And it just seems like over the last couple of years, and especially with Facebook's now focus on more personal, we have had to allow ourselves to share more personal, to be more vulnerable. You know, it does open up some vulnerabilities, but at the same time, it opens up so many rewards. So anyway, Nanette, I know that you probably have a question too. I want to make sure we get, because you're such a wealth of knowledge, I want to make sure we get everything in there. Lisa, I'm sorry, were you finished asking your question?
Well, for me, in the very beginning, I opened up a Pinterest account, personal, just like everybody did. You know, played around when they went to the way, started their business when it was around the same time that I was just starting my business and trying to figure out where I want to have awareness. So I did start a business account and did absolutely nothing with it. So, you know, for some, like I'm going to do, re-look at that and see it for the that you just mentioned. That's where I'm going to be lost, you know. So what would be the steps to get back in, or if somebody's going in for the first time, like what should they do?
Okay, so you have your business, Nanette, you have your business account set up. It's already open. So you want to now begin to build it. You want to optimize it and build it, right? So, I mean, without getting too deep into all the intricacies, you know, of it, basically you want to start with, you've got your profile and you want to optimize it, okay? And that involves some research. And I think that's where people start to get a little turned off with Pinterest, because Facebook, we kind of throw something up there and we can get it done pretty quick and we're off and running, right? But then we're also overwhelmed because the 1.3 billion people on there don't see anything of ours in the news feed because there's so much stuff going on. This is where Pinterest is really valuable, I think. Once you've established your message with your keywords, it allows you to, people start picking that up pretty quickly. I mean, you'd be kind of overwhelmed to see that, wow, suddenly I've got a few followers like on the first few days. But it is kind of like what do I want to say? It's a slow boil. It takes a while to get it really going and up to speed, so don't get frustrated. That's the other part. People want instant gratification, and Pinterest is a slower growth. The great thing about Pinterest is when you create a pin, say you have a blog post and you want to create a pin for it, that content is evergreen. It's out there, right? So if somebody, say you have, let's use your VA to VA Mastermind course, and you write a blog piece about that, and you've got some keywords in there, and maybe you pinned it in August of last year. I'm a new person to this VA space, but I want to know more about developing a team because I'm going to go for it, right? So I start putting in some keywords that have to do with that. Boom, your pin pops up, and it might be 6 months old or a year old. It's out there. It doesn't go away, which I think is kind of frustrating with other social media platforms, say Instagram or Twitter, where the feed is much quicker. You never see it. If you missed it the first time, it's gone. You know, so your content on Pinterest has a much longer shelf life. Okay. So to start, what I would say is do your research, do your keyword research, build your message. Tell us what it is, who you are, what you do, and what you offer, right? That would be in your profile. Then you would go out and start to build your boards for your ideal clients or who you want to attract based on your business. You know, if, for instance, I have social media, email marketing, and e-commerce boards, because those are typically the fields that I fall into. And then I may have other boards related to that. I might have a content board. I might have, actually have a board on Canva for designing and everything. So you can, and then you want to optimize those descriptions again with those keywords. Okay. And so that's kind of that's your starting point with your business profile.
And it is curating there equally as important as, you know.
Absolutely. You want to repin other people's pins that are relevant to your boards, because essentially you're sharing, right? You're sharing content like we do on other platforms. You're saying, hey, this pin is relevant to my Facebook board, or this pin is relevant to my e-commerce board. I want you to check it out. There's a whole other strategy that goes into building a pin. You know, there's a lot of things. Pinterest can be a little bit picky about. You know, you want to make sure that your keywords are there, your image is the correct size and optimized for people to see it, and then also that your links are working. That's a big no-no. If your links send people nowhere, you kind of get penalized for that. So it's the full circle. You have to really pay attention to the detail and make sure that everything is doing what it should do when you send, because essentially you're suggesting to people, hey, go check this out. Well, nobody wants to get sent nowhere, right? Or to something kind of spammy, you know. So you do have to be careful with that.
Do they use video in Pinterest at all?
Actually, video is really big, yeah, but short video. I mean, their long form video is like less than a minute, so it's not like but you can link back to your YouTube channel. You can link back to, you know, your Facebook. You can link back to your Instagram. So it kind of opens up a whole new realm of sharing your content with people and your other pages and profiles. Yeah.
I think looking at it as a search engine like Google or something really does help you to kind of unravel that thought process of what do I do? It seems overwhelming and all of that. And I know I don't want to run out of time before I ask you, because there's a ton of technology related to Pinterest now. I mean, they, you know, it used to just be the board. You couldn't click, you couldn't go anywhere. And I mean, I can remember trying to track down, you know, because sometimes there was not even a website, you know, if you liked something and you wanted to view it, but now it's so different. So I know there's some new technologies as well. And what are some of the things that have changed recently on Pinterest for some who maybe are more than beginners? What are some of the newer things that have happened with Pinterest?
So Tailwind is kind of like the app to use with your Pinterest, right? I mean, they've Board Booster is out. Can't use it anymore. Tailwind is really bringing their app up to speed as far as the features are really amazing with it. So you can schedule your pins. Lest people start to freak out and think, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all of this? It's overwhelming, right? Tailwind has helped to automate the process. So you can go in and schedule out your pinning for the month, much like a lot of us probably do with some of our social media too. But you can still go in there and manually pin as well. And then they have a new feature, and I'm not sure if it's past the beta stage yet or not. It's the Smart Loop feature. So you can like loop your pins. The ones that are getting more traffic will continue to loop through. So, and I actually haven't played with that yet. That's a feature that I'm going to be working on this next few weeks to play with. And I often do that on my own account. I kind of use my account as a test account for my clients, right? I'll go in and test different things with Tailwind or different types of designs.
Excuse me, when you're talking about a loop, okay, are you talking about like looping old content to make it fresh, like it comes up fresh again?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about other?
Kind of like I kind of liken it to something maybe similar like Meet Edgar, how it allows you to reloop that content through again.
Evergreen.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, without going into too much detail, because we'd be here forever. We could do like a whole day on Pinterest, all the intricacies of it.
You should teach a course.
I should add a course to the course, right? And
there you go.
We haven't even started on the promoted pins, which is the paid advertising, which.
Well, right. So that's what I mean. Like there's so many things that I had never heard of when we talked about Pinterest not long ago, in another course. But so the technology of knowing that you can loop the evergreen content. I actually schedule pins when I do blogs and even curated content through the scheduler and one that I use, Social Pilot, which allows you to schedule. It has some analytics. It has even has content that you can use on there. I mean, it's really pretty good for a very inexpensive one. So I use that, and I can schedule. You just always have to remember the API code. You have to re-up it every so often because it's only good for a certain length of time.
Right.
But yeah, so I do use that. So it seems like I'm probably putting fresh content out there, but I don't necessarily give a lot of attention to that. And I've never, like I said, heard anybody say they came from Pinterest. But after you and I talked not long ago, I thought maybe I need to pay closer attention to this.
Well, it really depends on the goals of your client and the strategy of what they're trying to do. I think that's the biggest piece, and that's why I was kind of marketing myself as a Facebook and Pinterest strategist, but then I still get these questions from clients. Well, how do I tie in my email and how do I email marketing and my e-commerce and everything? So I felt like I needed to go a little broader because I really have to look at the strategy. I have to look at each business as an individual and what is it that they need for their marketing? What's going to work best for them?
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. I think Nanette has another question. Nanette, do you have another question?
Well, one thing I did notice, because I was about Pinterest and they mentioned rich pins. So I was wondering if you could define that.
So you want to, when you have a business account, you can enable rich pins, and you'll notice, like, if you've gone in and looked at various pins, it allows for a bigger description, a more specific description right when people click on. I was looking for my phone. because most people are using their cell phone, right? Their mobile. You want as much of that information to show up on the pin as possible. I mean, it's another marketing thing, right? It's like, ooh, draw me in. Okay, now I'm going to click on that, right? So rich pins enables that, gives you a bigger description. And it also gives you, like, I don't know if you've noticed in different pins, some will just say visit, or some will say read it, or they'll give you a more specific action. It allows that. It also allows for a deeper dive into the analytics too.
Is that a paid thing, Lisa? Or
No,
you can do it?
no. Rich pins is free.
How do you enable that? Is that an option when you go on? I don't remember seeing it.
Now you're gonna ask me. Now I gotta.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know on my screen.
When you go to pin, do you have to actually be on Pinterest, or when you go to pin something, you can enable it?
No, you actually have to do it through your business account. So it's in I believe it's in the settings. I'm trying to think in my mind when I'm clicking not through it. I believe it's in the settings portion. So it's for your business account. You can't do it.
Right. Well, we're winding down here. I wanted to ask the ladies, did you have any other questions? I mean, Nanette, that was great when I'd forgotten about the rich pins. And Lisa, did you have any more questions? For Lisa?
Yeah, I have one. Lisa, for virtual professionals like ourselves, can this be a good niche for us to draw in clients, and how best to do that?
Well, definitely. I think that there is a need for it, but it may take a little bit of education on the part of a VA to their clients to explain to them how Pinterest can be a part of their marketing, perhaps another social media channel for them to pursue. And on that note, that's when I would go back to their Google Analytics and I would say, let's take a look at what's happening, where your traffic's coming from, and what your goals are, right? There are a lot of Pinterest courses out there. I would definitely advise a VA who's interested in Pinterest as a niche to take an in-depth course. Do your homework on those because there's a million of them, right? I have a few recommendations, but I don't know if I can say that on here. Definitely, you need to become pretty educated on it for your clients because there's a lot of layers to it, and it can be time consuming because there's a lot of research and strategy involved in it. I feel like it's a little bit of a higher end service as far as the social media services go because of the amount of time that you put into it. But I think that they can reap a bigger benefit from it depending on what their marketing goals are. I mean, if you can show them the money, lead them to it, right? You know, it's worth the investment. Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. Well, I was just mentioning what she said, reiterating what she said. I went to a networking event this morning with some other business owners, and everybody was talking about, well, I don't see the dollars and I don't see the value of social media. They say that all the time, but yet they're not really investing the time into it and they're not really seeing. So we had a really good discussion about that, about how you got to put in the work or pay somebody to put in the work for you to see it. And I think that, and when I was looking around the room, and one guy, he has this wonderful furniture store and he does home design too. And I was thinking, and I thought Pinterest would probably work great for him, but I don't know much about it. So, but now I'm going to study.
Right. I mean, right. And the other thing is use Facebook to your advantage too. There are a million groups on Facebook to get involved in as far as learning from your peers and everything. I mean, that's essentially, I feel like those of us in this industry, we do it this way. We're like a grassroots movement, right? We just get in there and we just start learning and we talk to each other and we bounce ideas off of each other. That's a really interesting point though that you bring up, and I'll just kind of close off with that. This is really important. This is what the one key piece that I find with every client. you've got to show them the value of it. And it's not just, social media should not just be a standalone service. I mean, it's got to lead somewhere. That's the introduction. That's the, hi, Nanette, I'm Lisa, right? And then I've got to lead you somewhere. It's almost like, think of yourself as a salesman in that furniture store. Okay, so they greet you at the door, you have a little conversation, you tell them what you're interested in, they lead you over to that item, and we start talking about it. So in essence, Pinterest is another channel. You might engage them on Facebook, but you might bring them over to Pinterest to direct them to your website. That might be your eventual goal, is to get them to your website to either sign up for your email list, purchase a product or a service, learn more about you, whatever it is. But you've got to have that call to action. You know, it's that whole sales funnel process. So it's just another piece of it. Yeah.
So it would behoove us, the three of us, to create a board for VA to VA on our own Pinterest, or especially if we have a business Pinterest account, and as well as maybe create an account for VA to VA, but at least if they're on our business account, that would go them to the website and then learn more about the course.
I do have a board for us on mine, Lisa, because I have pinned ours for a while. But yeah, it definitely would, I think. Don't you, Lisa? I have to say Lisa G. Lisa K.
Lisa, yeah. So Tammy and Nanette and Lisa, this is really, and I thought of you guys yesterday when I was doing my recon work. Your ultimate goal is to draw people to your site, to the course, or to the course. Is the course live on your site for this VA to VA course?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
sign up for it there, right?
Okay. So you're kind of building that, but you also, do you have content related to it that you can pin?
Yeah. Yeah, we have images. We have images. We have our VA to VA logo, and we have a banner for the course.
And whenever we do a video, we can post.
So yeah, they can, and also the AOA, HOA. I'm sorry, these live HOAs, our YouTube channel and stuff. We can drop to our videos as well.
And obviously, and then too with these videos, the other piece is keyword rich here on YouTube or wherever they live, right? I mean,
I definitely put a lot of keywords into it when I create the YouTube video content, right? So I think
a good experiment is to experiment with your own and use that as a case study, right? To show other VAs, here's how it's done. We took ours and this is what we created, Yeah. That'd be very cool.
Once we really get going, we could just hire her, guys.
Yes. That's what that's kind of what I always tell people. When you get rich, don't forget about me, okay?
Too funny. Well, we're just down to the wire here, but I mean that we could just go on and on because you're a wealth of knowledge in regard to this. But I think we've learned a lot, and I think we've discussed a whole lot. You've given us some great information to get started, and for those who want to even just do their own and put more focus into their own Pinterest, as well as, I have a cold, but as well as VAs and multi-VA companies, with teams wanting to reach out to other clients. So I think that is awesome. And we just really thank you for being on today. You've really provided just a lot of information, and we get a lot of look forward to seeing. And I hope that those watching will give us some comments and tell us, give us feedback on whether they use Pinterest or not as well. I think that would be great to see and hear, or if they're motivated now, because I know it motivated us. So any last comments, ladies, as we say goodbye? Any last comments, Lisa, Nanette, and Lisa?
No, I just feel like I'm missing the boat here, so I'm getting on it.
Yay.
I need to update, spend more time on it.
I need to clean mine up.
Well, I just want to thank all of you for letting me be a part of this today, because I do like to talk, as you can probably tell. I like to chat about all this stuff. I get really excited about it because it's like, I don't know, it's like a light bulb moment for me. And I love to talk with my clients, and when they go, oh, that's a great idea, let's try that. You know, it's like, yeah. And then when they see some success from it, then it's really fulfilling for me. But any questions anytime, I'm always happy to chat. Okay.
Yeah, we'd love for you to go ahead and give your website, please. Give everybody your website.
So it's lisagaletti.com. That's 2 L's and 2 T's. and probably my main mode is on Facebook. And again, I'm on as Lisa Galetti on Facebook. So you can find me on there.
Great. So they can look you up on there as well. And I don't remember, are you in our group also? We have, the VA to VA Mastermind Live group.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'll have to get in your group. I don't think I'm in there.
Okay. Yeah, please join us in there because I know you're headed in that direction of teams. And, so please join us in there. And anybody else can, if they're in our group too, can ask you questions in there as well, which would be great. So we just really appreciate it, Lisa. Hang on tight as we stop our live broadcast. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy New Year.